So I generally try to err on the side of critical optimism when it comes to the future of Destiny, and really any game. I think that gamers have a tendency to be one of the most negative groups of people on the planet, but having returned from my vacation to see Twitter on fire at the state of the game, I knew I was in for a treat. Hello and welcome. I just got off of my vacation yesterday. I sat down and recorded a spicy clips and was planning on uploading that today and decided, hey, you know what, I think I should probably talk about the state of the game. Not that nobody else is doing it, because everyone on the planet is currently doing it, but, you know, I might as well throw my 2 cents in there. It's a pretty light state of the game, all things considered, and there's a lot of community sentiment that's in the negative right now, and I'm very much in that camp. I'm not going to try to be just harsh and mean or whatever to Bungie. I'm trying to be as reasonable, rational as I can, but god damn is it hard for me to be positive right now, especially as a veteran PvP player when this is the, annual state of the game that we end up getting. Just out of curiosity, I polled my audience, and I also pulled up an old poll from about 9-10 months ago, just kind of getting the opinions of the Destiny sphere, how Destiny's doing, as well as the current game. As you can see in previous and times past, Destiny's opinions were mostly positive, kind of ranging from kind of indifferent to mostly positive, which is, I think, about what you'd expect. I don't think anybody ever is going to be in the boat, I should say, the community is ever going to be in the boat where it is overwhelmingly positive, because like I said, from first-hand experience, gamers are some of the hardest people to please on the planet. And now looking at the state of the game reaction and kind of making sure I'm reading the room correctly, this is what we've got. And I think this is more terrifying than anything else we've seen. This is a overall indifferent opinion leaning towards negative. I think that if this was mostly negative, I think the feedback would be clear enough, or the passion would still be there. But an indifference tells me that people are just kind of done caring for Destiny 2. Hopefully that's not the case. I don't want that to be the case. But again, the state of the game did not do a lot for that. There is an overwhelming lack of good faith in this state of the game address. Obviously the showcase is, hopefully to come, but this was a really good opportunity, and I think Bungie was really trying their hardest to build good faith. There was 6,000 plus words of corporate speak, and none of it really added up to anything that, at least me as a PvP player, amounted to good faith. It was just here's the bare minimum, you're gonna get what you get and you're gonna be happy with it, which really freaking sucks, dude. That really freaking sucks. That absolutely stings. Another thing that I found that I just didn't like as a continuing and theme throughout this state of the game is this game dev is hard, which I get. It is hard, having done a bit of it myself, even if it's on a tiny, minuscule scale. Regardless, having been in the kitchen for that side of things, yeah, game dev is hard, but that's kind of your job, right? That's kind of what you're supposed to be doing. And taking away resources from other things just tells me that something isn't jiving in that office. If you've got a team that has to devote all these resources to do something else or whatever it may be, and it takes away from other stuff, I guess coming into my next point, where is all that money going? Not just the Sony stuff, which we probably know was already planned way in advance, but price hikes. A lot of stuff has gotten more expensive. I know inflation is a thing and the economy is in a bit of a downturn, but surely that's being invested back into the game, right? I'm hoping it's not just going all into Marathon. I'm hoping that Bungie realizes that there's still a very devoted community here within Destiny 2. And some of that resources, some of that time, some of that energy should be invested back into it, even if it's not necessarily for something to be added to the game, but just for monetization purposes, but for just like I said, good faith. I already mentioned this, but gamers suck, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to jump on the negative bandwagon, and I understand that I'm kind of part of that problem right now. I get that, but critical, constructive feedback, right? Or at least trying to be clear in tone and deliver a message that hopefully doesn't come off as me just being an a-hole, but just more lays bare the emotions I have within myself, and hopefully to some degree echoing what sentiments I have that overlap with the community well enough. But those are the big things that I am struggling with. The lack of good faith, the weird discourse discussing that game dev is hard rather than focusing forward. I feel like there's ways, even within just the wording of the thing, there's ways to just say, we're struggling with some stuff right now, which I feel like is a little bit more vulnerable, or to just say, we have a plan. Both of those things at least give us some room to work with, but the way that it was given in the TWAB, and maybe it's just because it's encased in corporate speak, feels like excuse making. Could just be me. Please leave a comment. And lastly, there's this strange section that pretty much is Bungie patting themselves on the back, which is good to remind people of like where we were and where we are in order to keep things in perspective. But when the community sentiment, this could just be me. Again, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. This could just be me. But with the community sentiment being as low as it is, people are talking about things like the monetization stuff, the weird lack of updates to some of our core playlists, questionable decisions that have been made within the design of the game, and so on. A pat on the back feels almost antagonistic. It almost feels like it's just like, well, you don't know what's good for you. And again, I'm not saying that that's what they're saying. I'm saying that this is what I'm hearing as somebody, especially who's a veteran player. This is what it feels like on my side of things. I'm a PvP player, and I understand that the way that I enjoy Destiny is different than what Bungie uses to monetize the game. Those are going to be separate areas because I engage in the game of which Bungie does not heavily monetize or has not really found a good way to monetize. I still think that it is good for the health of the game for something like PvP and Gambit, rest in pieces. Having some of that stuff, having development towards those things still helps the other sides of the game. But I understand, I get it, and I've kind of laid that to rest. But that does not make it feel any better. There is hope. There is hope at the end of the tunnel. The showcase. Everybody's been talking about this, and I feel like that should underpin everything that we talk about here, is that the showcase is hopefully they're going to reveal a whole bunch of stuff. What sucks about this is that it keeps feel like we keep kicking the can down the road, right? We keep saying, well, we're going to get a TWAB that's going to talk about things. Okay, well, that didn't happen. Okay, we're going to get an update or some kind of hot fix or something that's going to adjust and address some of our concerns, okay? That's not going to happen. Now we got the state of the game, which in a lot of ways just said, yeah, no, we're just not going to, which is fine. I'd rather them tell me that they're not going to do certain things, like, again, Gambit being a good example of that. If they're just done with Gambit, that's fine. You know, at least tell me. I don't like the way that it was delivered, but at least it was delivered. Now we're kicking the can down the road to the showcase, where this state of the game should have hopefully given us a swing of momentum in the positive direction, and it has done nothing, or it has done damage. For me as a PvP player, the new mode and the new map is a step in the right direction. I'm hoping with enough clear, constructive, and rational, reasonable, respectful criticism of the state of the game, of Destiny, and so on and so forth, I am hoping, probably against hope, that will continue to be the direction of Destiny going forward. Will that be the case? Probably not. It really feels like that Marathon is going to be their golden goose, and that Destiny is a dying breed, that they have gotten what they need to out of Destiny and they're moving on. I don't agree with it, I don't like it, but at the same time, at the end of the day, they're a business, I kind of understand it. With that being said, how do we feel? Let me know in the comments. I want to know. I want to read the room. As the type of player that I am, I feel sort of shafted. I feel like I've been given the short end of the stick, but I know that's not going to be everybody's feelings. So please let me know. Subscribe. Spicy clips are going to be pushed off until Mondays. Bless your faces and deuces.